My name's Josh with Yeah Buddy Garage, and you're watching the Motortopia YouTube channel. Today, I'm gonna install these Dakota Digital RTX gauges in my 67 C10. But today, I'm gonna make it a little interesting and time myself to see how long it takes to install these gauges. So this truck has the Holley Terminator X Max harness, which is mounted right behind the retro sound radio. Normally, you would wire in everything in this control box to do the digital readouts on the gauges. But since my 67 is LS swapped, it has a Holley Terminator X Max harness, and this is a control module for the Holley EFI systems to the Dakota Digital. So everything that reads out on my Terminator X Max display will read out on the gauges. If you're looking for a video where we wire in the entire control box with a stock harness and drivetrain, I'll drop a card up here where I did that on my crew cab dually that has the original 454. I cut the wire harness to the gauges and wired in that control box. But let's get started on this install. Well, let's start the timer. Here we go. So with these gauges, you have to drop the steering column. So I got the old school e-brake here, just a couple of bolts. Now I'm gonna drop this little cover under the steering column. Yeah, there we go. We'll rest the steering wheel on the seat there. You got a couple of fasteners here. We got to take off our knobs. This set of gauges is just in here for decoration. Like I've been using this Terminator X Max readout to keep an eye on my engine vitals. All right, now that we have this disassembled, I need to come through and start figuring out my wire harness. This is a brand new wire harness, so everything is labeled. So it's gonna be really easy for me. If you have the original harness in the truck, you'll have to get a wiring diagram. And then what I did on the last book when I did the install on the dually was I wrote in what color went to the control box in the manual. So when I took this into the truck, it was really easy to do the install. I got all the wires that I'm gonna wire up to the box right here, and my harness plug is, well, it's just behind this area right here. I'm actually gonna go ahead and hook that up. The cool thing about this setup is you can plug directly into the harness, the Holley harness. You can also keep your display plugged in, just like that. So you're not missing out on using your display. So I'm gonna hook this up in the harness, start figuring out where we're gonna put these control boxes. The good thing about these gauges too is that they're not very deep. You know, they'll probably sit maybe about right here behind this piece. So I could probably even mount this right here. CK Metal tack welded a shelf and mounted the fuse panel kind of inverted. I could actually slide my control module for the Holley right there. I'm at 1 hour and 25. Maybe I'm taking too much time to do all this stuff, but I got the box pretty much wired up. Here, let me flip to this view. You're gonna get a better angle. See, I got the box sitting about where I wanted. It's not secured yet. I got my Holley EFI module right here. All the wires I need are coming up. This is the wire to the switches, which I'm gonna mount about right here. So I'm just gonna set everything in place and we get to watch the key on for the first time. Okay, we got no oil pressure. Hey, 3/4 tank on the fuel, which is probably right. Let me turn my lights on. All right, the dimmer switch works. Turn signal works. These aren't working though. That's funny, they have them right here. I guess what you could do is you could, if you had a custom bezel, fill those holes so you wouldn't have that and they would be indicated right here. It came with supplied wires to hook up the turn signals. So I bet you if you wired directly to that, it would work on here rather than here. Here's one of those little wires I was talking about for the back of the gauge. So what I did was wire the right turn signal directly to the body harness, plug it up back here. That's cool. So it moved from down here to up to the gauge face. What do we got? No tack readout. Temperature's unknown yet. Battery's working. No oil pressure. Well, we gotta hit the pause button at 2 hours and 12 minutes. Apparently, it's not just a plug and play deal like I thought it was gonna be. I did zero research and zero prep on this, and the majority of that time has been on the internet looking at what I need to do. So I have to change the CAN bus Type 1 and Type 2 settings to race pack, and I can't do that with a Holley display. I have to do it with their software. I can't download their software because I only have Apple products, and Holley does not have support for Mac operating systems at this time. So I gotta get my hands on a PC, and then I can fire this back up. Pause. Well, it has been 2 days since I recorded a video on this. I ended up getting a laptop from my dad. He's got a couple on hand. He's an IT guy, so that's pretty handy. Had to update the ECU for the truck, and I had to update the handheld. Holley provides a really nice video on how to do that. I'll drop that in a card up above if you want to check that out. Make sure we're in park. This is the first fire since programming the ECU, so hopefully nothing's changed. Still no RPMs. Batteries there, temperature's too early to tell. No oil pressure. Grab the old directions here, which probably should read through these before doing an install. Hold the button, turn the ignition on, release the button. It says system. Hold until a dash is displayed. Then release, tap the button to say TER. Hold, dash, release, tap button displayed in. So now I think I have to program the gauges to read from the module. So here we're in setup. So we gotta go start with tack, right? So we're gonna make our selection, press and hold. Oops, press and hold. I don't know if you guys can see this. Input, update, shift, light. So let's go to input. Cylinder is displayed. So we'll go to cylinder, BIM. Aha. So I got to change all these to be BIM. All right, so the tack should be set up. Now we got to go engine temp. So I'm going to run through all of this, and then I feel like once this is programmed, the next time I fire it up, it should be. All right, we got a fresh battery in the camera. We're rolling, I think. That looks so cool. All right, we'll make sure we're in park. Okay, we got some readouts here already. Woo, my battery's dying. All right, we got RPMs. We got battery, temperature still coming up, but it has water right here. Oil pressure at 50. Let's give it some beans. Yep. Got my freshly patinaed gauge bezel. Those are beautiful. Oh, that's awesome. I'm gonna go ahead and drill out this switch hole. The step bit I have is not quite big enough, but I could get it close and then finish it up with a burr tool. Just over 4 hours into the project, had some setbacks with programming and all that stuff, but here you can see my switch installed for the gauges. I got all the wiring run up here, and then I have all of my connections right here. So now we get to put in the bezel for the final time and do a test drive. Got everything buttoned up here. Got to take it on a test drive. So let's see what this looks like. Oil pressure's working, fuel's working, temperature should be working. We'll find out in a second. Battery seems to be working. All right, so the next we got to see if we need to calibrate the speedometer. So we're right at 5 hours with this install. Speedometer's working great. Let's see if the odometer kicks in. Sure does, it's rolling over. All these gauges are working just fine. I got the clock working. Forgot to show you, you have to connect the clock cable from the control box to the back of the gauges. Super easy to do. Once I did that, the clock turned on, which it wasn't before. It says I'm going 70. Well, I need to slow down. I got my Holley Terminator X display in the glove box here. Now that we're at a stoplight, I can show you my throttle positions up top, right here. And I have my transmission temp right there. It's really handy when it gets super hot outside. And then I just have some other simple stuff like battery, RPMs, fuel pressure, stuff like that. So stuff I can monitor on these gauges, but I just have them set up here for now. I still want to have access to my display just in case I want to make any changes. Man, these look so good, dude. If you told me those were the original gauges to the truck, I would 100% believe you at first glance. With that patina bezel and the old school looking script and layout and font that Dakota Digital's used, it looks like a factory option. The only dead giveaway to me is the two LCD screens. One is in the miles per hour gauge and one is in the RPMs. Now I have about 5 hours total in this install, and I gotta say a lot of that time was spent doing research on how to make everything talk to each other. Now I was thrown a curveball with having to update the Holley ECM, and Holley has a really good video on how to do that, and I'll drop a card up above in case you're trying to do this install yourself. That'll probably save you quite a bit of time. And if I had just read through the instructions, I would have saved so much time. But I would say doing this install isn't any easier than installing the control box and hardwiring it to the vehicle like I did on the dually. It has its own set of challenges, and there is definitely a learning curve. I think I could probably do it a little more efficiently on the next one, but it's still not a difficult project to do. You could easily do this in one day. I'm a huge fan of Dakota Digital. They make some really amazing products. I have their gauges in the C10, the dually, the Blazer, and I've actually acquired Project Playboy, which has a set of Dakota Digitals in there as well. So if you want to stay up to date on that project, hop on over to my Yeah Buddy Garage YouTube channel. Give me a follow. I would definitely appreciate it. But I got to cut the video off here because now I got some tuning to do on this old C10. Thank you guys for watching. See you in the next video.